Hi guys, Frank here. Hey look, if you're looking at this video, you're probably interested in some way, shape or another about our collaborative agile procurement training workshop. This is a 2-day in-person, hands-on type workshop. So look, just thought I'd sort of talk you through why we built this workshop, how we built it, and what's in it for you really. So I've been doing procurement. I've had my own business for 28 years, and I've done probably well over 300 procurement projects. But most importantly, over 110 of those have been in the last 7 years. And so that just means we're doing stuff that's really current. We're doing stuff that works. What sort of happened was a number of years ago, we had a period of my career where I was helping people respond to a lot of tenders, and we got exposed to some really bad procurement there. We've done 88 of those projects now, and I can tell you it's a pretty awful task. And so I just came up with a different paradigm, and this was back in about 2014. So the new paradigm was collaborative, courteous, and considerate. And we've just found the more you do that stuff, the better it works. So collaborative being, hey, just getting the best brains together to work together to get the best outcomes. Courteous is respect without any sort of rank, and considerate is just think of others when you're doing stuff. So we found this works really well. I've been trained myself a lot, but for 4 years there I also did training for the government on procurement, and then we set up our own training on this a number of years ago. So if you're sort of into that sort of mindset, that's pretty good. We can help you. Most people sort of get thrown into procurement. They, if you're anything like me, you sort of just start off doing it. I didn't really know what the word meant, and I had some guys that sort of showed me what to do, and it was pretty rough, to be honest. Pretty ugly when I look back. All the things I criticise now, I was doing them all, and but I did sort of get there, and I guess what I sort of made sure I don't do is copy what anyone else did. So the workshop's built around new stuff. It's built around what's working, and it's pretty pragmatic. So when you get thrown into that stuff, what's the effect on you? Well, it's just it's a lot of pressure. I know when I was first doing it, sleepless nights, endless meetings, bogged down in paperwork and politics, and feeling overwhelmed, feeling paralyzed, sometimes even thinking, gee, I'm not really the person for this, and I hope no one finds out. And often too with procurement, we find most organisations don't have many procurement people, so they sort of feel isolated and on their own a fair bit. So all of that leads to sort of stress and burnout. None of it's very good for you. So we just want to get to where you're in control of this. You're getting the right suppliers at the end of the day. That's really what we want to do. But fast, effective, defendable techniques that will get you a good outcome, but really easily and really fast. Not just good for you too, good for the market, so good for the suppliers. So the other thing is that procurement people are pretty sought after, and these skills make you pretty career proof. The go-to pro, that's where we want to land ourselves and the people that we train. So I'll just sort of talk you through how we got some collaborative models and how they work. But what we sort of find though is that one of the first things that a lot of people get taught just the wrong sort of foundation thinking. They old-fashioned models, master-servant models, beat-em-up techniques, screw them down, all that sort of stuff. They just don't sort of work really. They don't work very well. A lot of people also, they come in, so they just, man, I don't know what to do, so they go and copy what someone else did. And if that was rubbish, you're going to get rubbish as well, which in procurement, there's two downsides to creating rubbish. One is you might get the wrong supplier, the best ones might not even apply. And secondly, procurement is a legal process, and so you get these things wrong at your peril. That's when you end up with legal action and getting sued. So neither of those is very healthy. But the other thing we just see is, pretty slow, clunky, process-driven stuff. They get so hung up on making sure they dot all the I's and cross the T's on the process that they actually choose the wrong supplier. It takes way longer than it should. and we've just sort of worked out ways of doing this stuff fast and effective. So first thing we do in the training workshop though is some stuff around getting a collaborative sort of smart thinking foundation. That's what we've got to do for a start, and then from that, attractive strategies that work, stuff that will work in practice, and again, we don't copy what anyone else did, and like I said, I don't even copy what I did. So from that, we've got to make sure we choose the right ones and we get the right outcomes, choose the right suppliers. That starts right from, understanding what you need at the start of the project through to the selection process, the criteria, all that sort of stuff, ending up with the right supplier. So what we've built around that is, first of all, some stuff around the mindset. And so there's a bunch of tools and techniques in here. Some of them are mine that I've invented. Some of them are from other consultants or trainers that I've had. And I guess I've got to add, I'm always trying new stuff. I'm always learning. I'm always got coaching programs I'm on to make sure that we're getting good thinking coming through. The next thing is it's a strategy builder technique, and this is a model that I learned back in my days at Shell, and it's served me really well over the years. So we sort of use that A for the procurement strategy, but B for overcoming any sort of obstacles or opportunities during the projects. Something pops up, hey, here's this tool. It's really fast and effective. The Right Track Workshop is a thing that I'm pretty proud of because I invented it. There's a handful of things I've invented, and this is probably the biggest one. And so this is just something we sort of have brought in about 2014 again, and we've done hundreds of them. We've done them with boards, we've done them with councillors, we've done them with senior leadership teams, operational teams, engineers, we've done it. So they work really well. But the reason we do this is just to get a whole lot of background information quickly, and it's all pretty hands-on. It's post-it notes, flip charts, all that sort of thing. So in the training workshops, we actually typically work on 3 or 4 projects from the participants, and we'll bring those in and we actually workshop them through these things like the Right Track Workshop, so that they're getting to sort of experience it firsthand, but also on their projects, which makes it really sink in a whole lot better. So from there, we've got to make sure we get the right strategy. So we've just got some different models to show you from different projects that we've done, and it's one of the reasons procurement is a hard thing to learn, because you might not actually do one the same for a number of years, because they're all a bit different. So we can sort of line up, hey, here's a whole lot of examples of different models that we've used, how to choose the right ones, and then how to make sure you can sell that. Because sometimes you're trying something a bit different. We've actually just finished some work with a client where we really had to sell them on a different way of doing it, and man, they were blown away. They were blown away by how effective and how fast and easy it was for both them and the contractors. So having done that, we've got to go to the market, and we've got some things around that, how to develop the evaluation criteria, how to lock in the plan. We deliver, like I said, we've done hundreds of these projects, but particularly the last 7 years, we've really knuckled down and got some really good stuff going. But pretty much in all those projects, nearly every single one of them, we delivered them to the day that we said we would. So, doing all that planning and getting that right at the start, but then delivering on the plan, this is something we do lots of. So the pre-RFP thing is another thing that I invented. It's a really cool technique. We'll cover that in the workshop. Then it's like making sure you do the evaluation properly. Now, we've got some techniques we learned from some very good people over the years, stuff we've developed ourselves, and it includes doing workshops at some point with the suppliers, either online or in person, and we just find these work really good too. So we were heading with this is, I guess you've got to sort of say to yourself, well, where do I how well am I doing these things? Where's your mindset at? And if I was to say to you, like, tick one of these traffic lights, are you a green? Yeah, I'm doing this stuff pretty well. Yellow, yeah, a little bit. Red, man, I'm not doing it at all. Where would you sit on these? Same with the strategy builder. what are you doing against? What are you doing back at the start of the project to get things right before you kick it off? Are you doing those sort of things? How confident are you in the strategies themselves that you're using? Again, are you just copying what someone else did, copying their rubbish, or are you coming up with really good stuff that works good for you, works good for the suppliers? And then again, the go-to-market platform, just how good are you at that stuff? How good are you at the evaluation? So I guess that gives you a bit of an assessment of where you sit, whether you think you really need this training or not. The big thing, is we're into this collaborative model. We're not into master servant. We're not into lowest price conforming, all that sort of stuff. So, if you can't cope with that, you probably shouldn't come. But if you can, look, we'd love to see you on one of our workshops. What you get at the workshop is the workbooks that go with it. You get a whole bunch of templates, and you also get some follow-up from us as well. So hope to see you on one. If you're interested in this any further, just click the link down below, and we'll hope to see you in the future.